When Evan and Rachel Carter first stepped into Harmony Hills, it felt like the American dream in motion. Perfectly trimmed lawns, matching mailboxes, kids riding bikes down smooth asphalt streets. It was everything they'd ever wanted. The real estate agent was all smiles, assuring them the neighborhood was community managed for perfection. To them, that meant convenience. No worries about unkempt lawns or noisy neighbors. After a short negotiation, the Carters closed the deal on a charming 3-bedroom house with a backyard, overlooking a small lake dot the day they moved in. Neighbors dropped by with cookies and welcoming smiles. It was picture perfect. The HOA welcome packet in their mailbox looked harmless enough. A few pages about community guidelines and monthly upkeep. They skimmed through it and thought nothing of it. It wasn't until a month later, when the first assessment notice arrived, that their dream began to crack. A thick envelope bore the header, Harmony Hills Homeowners Association. Inside, a bill for $1,250, labeled Annual Landscaping and Beautification Fee. Confused, Evan called the HOA number printed at the bottom. The woman on the line replied coldly, "It's mandatory, sir. It's in your contract." Except it wasn't. Or at least, they'd never seen it. Evan pulled out every document they'd signed. The HOA fees were supposed to be $150 per month. But this was different, a special assessment for something never mentioned. Rachel grew anxious. "Did we miss something?" she asked. Evan shook his head, scanning every page of the purchase agreement. There was no mention of any annual beautification charge. He decided to attend the next HOA meeting to get clarity. The community center was packed. He waited for his turn to speak, but when he asked about the fee, the board members exchanged glances. Finally, the president, a tall man named Charles Whitmore, smirked. "It's in the supplemental bylaw," he said casually. Page 47, Section 3. Evan had never seen such a document. He requested a copy, and when it arrived days later, it was stamped Confidential Board Access Only. His heart sank. The HOA had hidden fees embedded in internal documents not shown to buyers. They'd been blindsided, and now they were legally bound. Evan refused to let it go. Late at night, he sat in his office, reading every available HOA document. The deeper he looked, the darker it got. Hidden among the bylaws were extra charges, community security fund, fence maintenance fee, and even streetlight power recovery. None of it had been disclosed during purchase. Rachel suggested contacting their realtor, but the agent quickly distanced herself, saying she wasn't aware of those additional clauses. That's when Evan joined an online homeowners forum. Dozens of posts popped up from residents of Harmony Hills complaining about undisclosed costs. Some had already paid thousands in penalties for late payments they didn't know existed. Others said the HOA threatened liens on their homes. Evan realized they weren't alone. "They've been running this scam for years," one resident told him privately. "People are too scared to speak up." But Evan wasn't scared anymore. He was furious. At the next HOA meeting, Evan brought a binder full of printouts, receipts, and testimonies. "You can't charge homeowners for hidden fees," he said firmly. Charles leaned back, amused. "The board operates within its rights," he replied. "You signed the agreement." Evan countered with a lawyer's letter stating that hidden fees not disclosed during purchase were illegal under state law. The room fell silent. Charles tried to regain control, dismissing Evan's claims, but whispers spread across the room. Other homeowners began asking questions. Rachel, though nervous, stood beside her husband. "We love this community," she said, "but we deserve transparency." The tension snapped when another resident shouted, "I paid those fees too. No one told me." Suddenly, the board wasn't facing one angry homeowner, it was facing a crowd. Days later, The Carters received a letter from the HOA claiming their fence was in violation of design standards. It demanded they repaint it within 10 days or face a fine. "They're retaliating," Rachel whispered. Evan nodded grimly. Instead of backing down, he posted a video online detailing their story. Within days, it went viral. Comments flooded in from homeowners across the country, sharing similar HOA horror stories. The local news picked it up, broadcasting interviews with frustrated residents. The pressure mounted until even the HOA's own attorney began urging Charles to settle quietly. The community turned against the board. The next election saw a historic turnout, and for the first time, new candidates ordinary homeowners won. The new board immediately launched an audit. What they found was shocking. Over $400,000 in undocumented assessments collected from homeowners over 5 years. The HOA's treasurer had resigned suddenly just days before the investigation began. Charles Whitmore disappeared from public view entirely. Evan and Rachel were vindicated. The board sent formal letters to all homeowners acknowledging the hidden fees and promising refunds. New transparency policies were implemented. Every bylaw, every expense, and every fee would now be public record. The Carters had unknowingly sparked reform, not just in Harmony Hills, but in nearby communities that adopted similar rules. Their courage had forced light into a system built on secrecy. Months later, Harmony Hills looked the same on the outside green lawns, painted fences, quiet streets, but the spirit had changed. Neighbors now greeted one another with respect instead of suspicion. A plaque near the community gate read, "Transparency begins with truth." Evan reflected on how close they'd come to losing faith in their dream home. "We thought the HOA was protecting us," he told a reporter. "But sometimes it's the homeowners who have to protect each other." Rachel smiled beside him. "If you don't question the fine print, someone else will write it for you." Their story inspired thousands of viewers online. HOA Uncovered released a video titled "The Hidden Costs of Harmony Hills," and within a week, it went viral. It wasn't just a story about one couple. It was about homeowners everywhere standing up for fairness.